Our rules are so stated.
Honorable Sada, this is a matter of privilege. The point of order can come after. If you read the rules very well, matter of privilege must be is priority and it must be dispensed with. Yes.
Thank you for your protection, Right Honorable Speaker. Our orders are explicit, clear, unambiguous on committal of bill. Mr. Speaker, I was taking time, but I need to break it down. Order 12, Rule 16, 17, and 18 states it clearly. You find that on page 72 and 73 of our study rules. 18, the rule of construction demands that provision of the law or rule should be given their plain and ordinary meaning. Rule 17 is different from Rule 18 and Rule 16. Rule 17 deals with continuation of business from section to section and not from assembly to assembly. Rule 18 deals with assembly to assembly. And that rule states that that bill must be gazetted. It is there in our rules. Page 72. The legislative business of the House, which though completed and laid in the House by a committee of the House, remained determined at the end of the Assembly, shall be resumed and proceeded with in the next Assembly in the same manner as if the tenure of the Assembly had not come to an end. If the House resolved in the affirmative, such bill, upon being re-gazetted, the emphasis word is re, which means it has to be re-gazetted again, reflecting in our journals. It is stated here, clear, unambiguous. Thank you for your time.
The bill is an executive bill, and this bill, historically, you were the first person to move debate on this bill when you were the majority leader, historically. All the histories are there in the journals. These bills followed the normal procedure of the House as enshrined, excuse me please, as enshrined in the order of this book, in order of this. And this bill, Mr. Speaker, my brother Abonta, he was sitting for nearly 1 hour when this bill was passed, was considered on this floor. You were here on the 23rd. He was here. So, Mr. Speaker, when a member is saying that this House has no right to entertain them because there is constitutional provision, that is not true. We must not misinform members about the provision of this bill. That bill is a consolidation of 4 acts. One act is 1986, that's Water Resources Act. The other one is River Basin Development Authorities of 1985. The other one is Nigeria Hydrological Agency Act of 2010, and there is Nigerian Institute of Water Resources, Mando Kaduna of 1986. These bills were consolidated. Can you imagine one of the provisions in the bill is still talking about Benue State? It's still talking about Benue State. Then if you look at the catchment zone areas of
Honorable Sada, just like I didn't want him to debate, the bill, let's address the narrow issue.
Under Constitutional Order 315 sub 5. Mr. Speaker, I'm relying also on Constitutional Land Use Act. Mr. Speaker, I want you to look at Section 9 sub 2 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I will take you to 64 of the exclusive list. Mr. Speaker, I want to question the jurisdiction for us to entertain the water bill. We have no local state jurisdiction, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to adopt the postulations and arguments of Honorable Mzondu, as if they are mine. Considering that we have procedural error, leave it aside. Constitutionally, we have no right to discuss that. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution laid foundation for alteration of Constitution in Section 9(2). Let me ask a simple question. Can we, by virtue of a bill, amend the Constitution? The answer is no. Mr. Speaker, Land Use Act is here. It says, okay, Constitution 315 says, if you go to 315, Mr. Speaker, 315 particularly 5. If I may read, nothing in this Constitution shall invalidate the following enactments. That is to say, the National Youth Service Corps decree, the Public Complaints Commission Act, the National Security Agencies Act, and the Land Use Act. It doesn't have to say how you can alter it. If this is so, the water bill in its entirety is an affront of the Land Use Act. The water bill seems to talk about water in the ground, water on the surface, water in the reservoir, water in the pot of soup.
Yeah, Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
your constitutional order is noted, but I think at this stage, what we need to deal with is the procedure, because we've passed the stage of debate.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I don't want us to make the mistake of looking at the merit and the merit of the bill at this stage. What our colleague has raised is that his right as a parliamentarian has been infringed upon as a result of wrong procedure. And Mr. Speaker, a lot of us align with that position. Simply, we ought to re-gazette this bill. And the simple truth is, if we fail to adhere to the procedure, even where it is assented to by Mr. President, a court can set it aside. So what is wrong in adopting the proper procedure? He's not asking that the bill should be killed. Let us re-gazette it. There are members who were not in the previous assembly who hadn't the opportunity of seeing that bill gazetted. Give them the opportunity. Aside that, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, if you look at Order 12, Rule 3, it also says that we have 3 different days to schedule bills, whether it is a bill that was recalled from previous assembly or a fresh bill, unless we set aside the rule. This particular bill was listed for committee of the whole the same day the motion for reconsideration was listed. Same day, same order paper. It is also offensive against Order 12, Rule 3. So the simple thing we should do to correct it, it might be a very beautiful bill. Other countries have similar bills. Very beautiful as it may be, we commend those who crafted it. But at this stage, let us do the proper thing. Let us send it back, re-gazette it, bring it back for full consideration and argument, so that even Nigerians will also be carried along, and they will be convinced by the time we pass this bill. It will be counterproductive if we're in a hurry to pass this bill. So I will urge and pray that we consider the issue raised by our colleague and take a decision in the interest of the entire country that we represent here.
Honorable colleagues, we have a matter of privilege on the floor. Matters of privilege are not meant to be debated, but because of the sensitivity of the matter, we open it up for debate. Matters of privilege are not meant to be debated, but because of the sensitivity of the matter, we open it up for debate. Honorable colleagues, I have just read out the prayers that we pray every day. And I want you to recall that I had a bill on the floor of this House, the infectious disease bill, which at the end of the day generated a lot of controversy. We were informed that we passed it with the speed of light, which was neither here nor there, and that the procedure was wrong. and that it was not sent for public hearing. And being sensitive to the people, I stepped my bill down and I sent it to public hearing. Fundamental issues have been raised by Honorable Mzondu about his privilege and that of many others being breached. He has backed it up by clear language and provisions of our rules, which says any such bill must be re-gazetted. The Chairman Business and Rules sought to rely on Rule 16, which gives a window of either re-gazette or clean copies. Unfortunately, it appears some people have done their homework. I was presented with the motion itself for the day, which did not talk about Rule 16, but talked about Rule 18, which does not give the alternative of clean copies, which strictly says it must be re-gazetted. We don't want to do things here that the courts will annul based on even procedure. So there may still be good in this bill, but I think it's good to err on the side of caution. And I think the bill should be sent back for re-gazetting and brought back to the floor so that we'll consider it and nobody will have any issue at that point. The right thing would have been done. So the ruling will be that, please very quickly, Chairman Business and Rule, please send the bill for re-gazetting and bring it back to the floor.